Hi guys, I hope you are well. Well, in today's session, I'll be taking you through the 802.1 IQ VLAN trunking protocol. Actually, there's two under trunking, so I'll be taking you through this protocol. So let's just jot down the things that we are going to talk about in today's session. So it's one Q VLAN trunking trunking tag. Also, we need to make changes on our visual diagram. Also, our packet tracer. There are also changes that we need to do also, and that's where we have to remember from our starting off with our visual. There's so many changes that we've done in the consultation that I had with you guys the previous weeks that have passed. So we need to make some changes. So in order for us to have a well structured network diagram, we need to make some changes. And also on our packet Cisco tracer, we need to do few changes, which I will just go through on item by item. So for the packet tracer changes, we'll start firstly with our LAN 1. So LAN 1, let's start with LAN 1 first. The changes that needs to be made, we need to remove every cabling on our switch. So the changes that I want you guys to do is from switch port 05, we need to connect all our devices, like end devices, back end devices like your computers and your computers, but excluding your IP phone. So this end devices will include your server, your printer, and your computer. So what I need from you guys, I need you to remove all these, but I'll just show you how to go about with this exercise. So those are the changes that I would like you to do on the Cisco packet tracer. And also let's just do this. So switch port from FA0/5 till 20. So these are the switch port access that we'll be utilizing from our end devices. So we need to do that. And also, what else? We're going to utilize FA0/1 till to 5. And from this, I also need you guys to change to locate only FA03 slash 3 to F no no to 4. So these two allocate only for our IP phone. We'll allocate our IP phone. And remember, since we've created 3 lanes on our previous lesson, we need to allocate the IP addresses for these VLANs that we have. So the IP address for this, we utilize 192.168.80.0 subnet for IP addresses. So we will only allocate certain IP addresses. So for now, these unused ports, we've got unused ports. It's only FA0 from 20 from 20 0 from 0 0 21 till to 25, sorry, 24. Okay, so there are a few changes that needs to be done in terms of the Cisco packet tracer, and we need to allocate IP addresses for our VLANs, and within these VLANs we also need to assign IP addresses for these VLANs. So this is the exercise that we'll be doing for now, for today. But first, let me take you through one of the protocols for the trunk 8021Q. So the protocol, this protocol, let's move on to slide 98. So this protocol 802 is the networking standard that defines the VLAN network, the VLANs on an Ethernet network. So this is just a standard. It's a networking standard that defines the VLANs on an Ethernet network, meaning on your LANs. So the VLANs are logical networks, as you know, which share a single physical connection using the tagging frames. So an Ethernet frame can contain an 802 tag with the fields that specify the VLAN membership and user priority. But before, let's quickly go through to slide number 97. So as you can see from the above, from this slide that I've extracted, we have computers on both sides and they have a different VLANs, as you can see. Broadside, this comes from the VLAN 10, VLAN 20 and VLAN 30. So these are from LAN 1, we've got LAN 2, and these are connected using a trunk. Also, because our regular Ethernet frames don't have anything to show, uh, to which VLAN they belong to, we will need another protocol. So there are two types of trunking protocol that we have. We've got the 8021Q and the ISL, which is the inter-switched link. So the 8021Q, it's the most common trunking protocol. It's a standard and is supported by many vendors. So this protocol assists us where we have an Ethernet frame which can contain an 802 cable with fields that specify VLAN membership and user priority. So its main purpose or functionality, it specifies the VLAN membership and user priority. That's its functionality. So hence why it's being used. And also the VLAN tag is inserted between the source MAC address and the type and the length fields in the Ethernet frame. Remember, this process happens in the layer 2 on the OSI model.
Remember, with this protocol, which is the 802, it defines the virtual LANs on an Ethernet network. So remember, because of this is a tag, on our previous videos that I've shared with you, I've emphasized the role of how the trunk works, you know, and how one traffic would go to maybe to another network. So because of now we're dealing with trunks, and always allows multiple VLANs. So remember, now we're having a native where it has tags. So within those tags we have protocols that are in place, which is your 802, which defines the virtual leg on an Ethernet network. So it define that tag to say it belongs to a certain VLAN. So if you can see on the second point, specify the VLAN membership and the user priority. So if it's priority 1 from the VLAN 1, so this is the traffic that comes from VLAN 10, and its priority it's 1, it has to go to VLAN 20. It will prioritize that VLAN and share to that specific VLAN using trunk. So that's how it goes about in terms of this protocol that is being used using trunk. So that's the first item that I wanted to explain. And the second one is the changes that needs to happen on a Cisco switch. So what I want you guys to do, there are certain configs that you need to do on a switch, which is I think we've got about four slides, and also about 5 slides for configs that you need to do on a router. But first things first, let's first start on the switch and do these configs. So I'll just show how to go about in terms of changing these configs on a switch. Okay, so let's move on to the VLANs. So okay, we've created that. I believe you from the previous video you created the VLANs. So I need you to follow this easy steps. So you go into your switch, enable config t, and in this phase before control z, control z, exit, show VLAN. So what I need you guys, since on the previous video I've showed you how to go about in terms of creating VLANs, and in these VLANs I instructed you guys to include all the switch port to the specific VLAN. So for voice, for instance, I've said okay, let's do this. Let's just start from the beginning. Let's okay, enable config t, do erase the do right erase confirm and reload. Okay, config t reload. Do right erase. Okay, removed everything off and reload. Okay, let's check this. Reload. Okay. Okay, as I've said, I've instructed that I need you guys to let's start with this. Okay, so we've said so switch from switch 5. So we'll start from 5. PC1, net 6. So from 5 to 15, we've got our internal devices, and also let's check. Okay, link is down. Okay, let's do this also. First ethernet 0, first ethernet 1. So we have first ethernet 01 to first ethernet 0. That's okay. So we also have from the switch to first ethernet 2. So we good. Okay, so first ethernet 2 is for our, so we've got only 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now this is the first step that I need you guys to do, and the second step is we need to, okay, we've done this, we need to, okay, let's check. Okay, let's go to our switch. On the slide that I've given you out, please follow the slide. So we'll have to go to our switch, we have to go to our switch, and I need you to config T and create VLANs. So we also have VLAN 10, this is for data, and we name it data, and we've got also VLAN 20, we name it voice, and we have VLAN 30. Let's check with VLAN 30. VLAN 30 name unused P, and VLAN 40 name we said it's native VLAN. So we are done with naming our VLANs, so we can save. Do write memory. Okay, so let's exit. So let's show VLANs. So we've got VLAN 10, we've got VLAN 10 for data, VLAN 20 for voice, VLAN 30 for unused ports, and VLAN 40 for native. Perfect. So we need to go back to, by going to the interface. 50. So let's move on to first Ethernet 0/1. Okay, first Ethernet interface FA0/1. Okay, so we will switch that as this will be our switch port mode trunk trunk and switch port native VLAN 40. Then we exit do write memory. Okay, remember what we have done according to the slides that I've provided. These are the changes that you need to make on the switch. So moving on to the next slide. Since we have done this, so now on this slide, the trickiest part, because now what we are, this is just a guideline in terms of what we need to do. These are just guidelines. These are guidelines. I'll repeat that several times. So we have to be very smart in terms of doing our configs. So in this instance, we need to assign the ports, the switch ports that we have. So in the slide, they've simplified to say from zero, from switch port 2 to 4. This is for our access, our end device, which is your PCs, your computer, your desktops, your servers, and your printers. But in our case, with the first exercise that I've done in terms of removing those cables from removing them from the ports that we have started with switch port 01, I've moved them further up from 5 up until 20. So we'll have to simplify the range. So let's do that in coding. So int range if a 0/5 till to 20. So this we will switch port mode access, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. That's for data. We good. So on the slide that you guys will receive on the portal, the slide on slide 100 will specify the switch port that you have, like from switch port 0 from 2 to 4. That's for data. But in our instance, we have modified our VLAN or our LAN to say from switch port 5 to 20. This is for end devices like your PCs, your switches, and not switches, but it's for your printers, computers, and servers. So let's exit. Do write memory. Okay, memory. Okay, fine. So now let's move on to the next slide. So the next slide will be then 20. Okay, so what we need to do in this instance, we need to specify which port. Remember, we have said on FA, on switch port 3 and 4, we need to specify which VLAN are we utilizing. So we will have to skip this one, hence why I have exited. So we will move on to, let's go back to our switch. Where's our switch? So now let's move on to int range fa 0/3 to 4. Okay, switch port was switch port was okay. Okay, good. Okay, so let's check. So VLAN. Okay. Okay. VLAN on default. Remember, we've got 2, 3, and 4. That's default. And VLAN 2. VLAN 10 for data. We've got 5 up until 19, up until 20. And okay. Let's do this. Range FA 0/3 to 4. Switch port node access switch node access port switch port okay, let's do this. Okay, it's fine. So let's move on to okay. So once you're done with that, you need to do right. Okay, exit. Let's check. So on this exercise, I would need you guys to configure, do as what I've just done on these on this one switch, and please go through this video and do the changes as I've done them. So, and also what you need to do is, okay, now we haven't done much. So fast Ethernet, it's not assigned in any VLAN, and we've got 5 to 20. It's for VLAN. It's for VLAN 1. Oh, let's do this. Let's just let's just do this change. Let's just do this change. I think this will be config t. Okay, where's our switch? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Int range fa0/5 to 20. Switch port mode access, and switch port sysport access VLAN, VLAN 10, and switch port VLAN 20, switch port voice, it's switch port voice VLAN 20. Okay, and then exit. Do show VLAN brief, and let's see. Aha, it's active. So voice and data, they utilize these, and for it's active. Okay, fine. Think this was correct. Okay, fine. Let's exit. Do right memory. Do right memory. Okay. Config. Okay. So we are done with the changes on the switch, and these are the first steps that needs. Okay, VLAN on. At least there's something. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. So on the changes that you need to do on the router, just as I've explained in terms of the encapsulation encapsulation. Oh, okay. Let's do this. This is what you're going to go about in terms of the changes by the end of this exercise number 2. As you can see, for encapsulation, we have encapsulation 0.0.2. 2 simplifies this. It simplifies the VLAN which does it belong to. So 2 is for voice. It assigns its own IP address, and we also have 10, which is VLAN 10 for data, and you also have VLAN 40 for native. So hence I've said that we need to assign the IP addresses for our VLANs. Remember that this VLAN is being utilized within the 80.1 range, which is the IP address of the router. So we'll have to assign to say, we will say this is for this IP address, and so we've got 2, 3, and 4. So these will be our IP addresses for this VLAN. So what we can do is we can make the changes on our slide. So just do the changes. So for instance, if you'll just go to the router, and just go to the router, enable do erase do right. Okay. Okay, let's erase everything and reload. Okay, let's do this before we even continue further. Okay, perfect. Everything is down, everything is set. So first, so what we need to do is go to the an encapsulation. Remember, this encapsulation goes hand in hand with that the protocol that is being used for the trunk, which is 802 dot 1. So this is the protocol. So this is the command that you need to do whenever you encapsulate the data within that interface. So that is dot 1q, simplifies, this has to go to 10, and we need to add an IP address. So for dot 10 we set the IP address, it's for the VLAN. So it's 192.168.80.2. There's a command that you need to do. So it's IP add and 255.255.255.0 and add and exit. Okay, do write memory. Okay, so I'll just only do that exercise and you will do the rest. So let's see. Okay, voila, as you can see, dot 10 we've managed to include that, so we're fine, we're good to go. So I'll just upload this slide on the portal. You just complete this exercise also, and yeah, that will be exercise on this video lesson. So thank you, I'll see you in the next video.